Good morning, everyone that's here. We're going to start the day off with Star Citizen Live Montreal Protocol. I have no idea what they talk about in this, but I will make note of the fact that Jake posted on Spectrum yesterday that there will be, it's official now. I mean, I think we all thought it was going to be a thing, but it's completely official. A full wipe for 3.18, which is pretty exciting. Because wipes are good in a game that has broken economy and, no gameplay. So it kind of like revitalizes things. So whenever 3.18 does go to live, it'll come with a full wipe, which is, gives you just more options to figure out what to do. Yeah, like 0 to hero things become a thing. All the inventory stuff gets crazy, and so it's like a new season, exactly. So pretty excited about that. But let's jump into watching Star Citizen Live, and hopefully there's some interesting tidbits here, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yep, cartoons. You guys have Rocky and Boing?
Yeah, we did.
Was that big up there? Or?
Not really. Canada, yes. Quebec, no.
No, well,
Wait, Canada and Quebec are two different places? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, they are.
They are.
yeah.
All right, why are Canada and Quebec two different places?
Are we getting on
Yeah,
that?
no, we're
Oh, jeez, this is where they're starting.
live. We're live. No. Put it on camera. No. These people,
Some
why are
history.
Canada and Quebec two different places?
I don't think it was ever translated to French either, which means that most kids in Quebec wouldn't understand half of what was going on.
In Rocky and Buick.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty much the same as it was in America. It's moose and squirrel. Hey, everybody. Welcome to, what show is this? Star Citizen Live, the Montreal Protocol. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you're curious what the Montreal Protocol is, it's basically when I walk in on a Monday and I discover 6 fine visitors from our partner studio in Montreal, like, you're going to be on the show on Friday. And that's exactly how it happened. Like, you were literally, you walked around the corner, and like, how long were you in the office before I said, you're on the show on Friday?
Just got in, I think.
We just got in the first day. We just came in the studio to say hi to people. We're there, and we were there. Just say, hey, next Friday.
So they have no plans, just 0 plans, just fly in. Hey.
Hey, we're going
Like
to fly.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
You were in the studio for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, because I
Wing
didn't
it.
know you guys were coming, so I came in on Monday and I
Walk
walked
by
in
your
the morning.
desk, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's a bunch of French Canadians here. It's like, so, I wasn't expecting it.
That was actually Tuesday because Monday we were jet lagged. We arrived pretty late, so that was, But we were fresh as a rose.
Yeah,
on
it's true. It was a
Tuesday.
Tuesday because we arrived on a Monday, and
Yeah, it was Tuesday when I got to you guys, but I got to Nick on Monday.
Yeah, I came
got
to say
Nick
hi
and
to you
Fred on
and
Monday.
people, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't waste any time.
This guy.
Hey, there's always another Friday, as we say, behind the scenes. So welcome to Star Citizen Live. This is the show where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and we hang out with our developers. And if you hadn't figured it out from our stellar intro this week, this week's guests are members from the Turbulent Games team in Montreal. We've got Max. Say hi, Max.
Hello.
Hi, Max. We got Annie.
Hi.
Hi.
I
We
forgot
got
what
Nicholas.
Andy did.
Bonjour.
Max was
And we got Rainer.
hello, everybody.
the
I was
Lorville
wondering
rework,
I was
right?
wondering what they left for you
And
by the
it's-
time they got to you.
The one on the right, I've seen the one on the left and the back I haven't.
Let's just start right off the bat.
Producer? Okay,
I said,
that's
this isn't one of those ones where we had plans and a big agenda or anything. We're just going to free flow this.
Free falling.
Yeah, we are. What are you doing here?
Actually, we came to visit the studio, to meet the team, to shake some hands, and
Have some meetings.
have some meetings, fix some stuff.
Drink a lot of drinks as well. But
Oh, okay.
that's just a side thing. Our real gig is working. Very professional.
It's a real good first impression there, Annie. just as people are seeing
that's
you
great
here
to
So I
hear.
am.
for the first time and like, we're drinking so much. They are video game developers after all.
This is work trips, man.
Yep. Now, obviously, you guys have been working with CIG and Star Citizen for over a year now. And everything. What's the virtue of of these trips? What can be done in person that can't just be done over a 7,000th Zoom call?
It's 2 full years for most of us now, so.
True.
Isn't that long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.5.
I'm about to hit my 8 year. That's why I was like, oh. All right, so 2 years. So same question while I think about how
How's the
long
volume, guys?
the time is escaping us.
I mean, there's a
Feels
lot of
low
things
to
that
me.
don't really transpire via Zoom, and I think there's a real value in sitting down face to face with someone.
Okay.
Like something that you can do from 5,000 kilometers across an ocean. Team bonding and just, I don't know, it's just this vibe of getting shit done when you're, right in front of someone.
That's your one.
I know, it's gone now.
Literally
even
before the
10
show
minutes
started. Literally before the show started, was it you who asked? Like, can we swear?
No, it was him.
No, it was Rainer. Rainer's like, can we swear on the show? And I'm like, you're allowed one per show. And so
Mine is gone.
Yeah, so check Annie's
No,
box.
I think
Hers
the
is
whole
gone. Now,
the whole team is gone.
there's the 4 of you, but who else was in your party? Who's not making it here with us today?
Jason
Jason Tonks.
Jason Tonks
Sorry, Jason.
left
Yeah.
this morning.
And Fred Dupéry, who's our lead concept artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred is literally
So
back
the
in the
whole
office
team
right
went.
now,
Okay.
still working with his team. I asked him just before we got started, I'm like, hey, you want to come over? And he's like, I can't. I gotta maximize the time that I'm here, which says a lot about the 4 of you.
Thank you.
So let's just go around the room a little bit, talk about who we are and what you do. Nick, I'm going to start with you. You are recently transcended. You are recently you have a new role at Turbulent Games. Tell the folks, who are you? What do you do?
Nicolas Pinchot. Actually, I'm the new assistant art director in studio in Montreal.
Assistant
And,
art director
so
in
actually
Montreal.
my
Okay.
role will be to, how I can say that, to just
Draw pretty
Oversee.
pictures.
oversee. Thanks, Max. My English is. My job will be to oversee all the mandate we're going to work on in Montreal.
And additionally, to be Ian's trusty sidekick on the Montreal side of things. Ian is a very busy man, so we need someone closer to us, at least in the same time zone, to get us some feedback every once in a while.
What's it? So you're a new assistant assistant art director, associate art director, assistant art director in the Montreal studio, working very closely with Ian.
Because Ian right now has a lot on his shoulders, so he needs assistance to be able to. C'est quoi, pas divulguer, mais tu sais, quand on passe le travail. When you
Delegate.
delegate,
Yeah.
he needs to delegate some stuff, so that's why.
I'm not
we
sure
are
who
assistant
Ian
art
is.
director
Yeah,
now.
they're mentioning Ian.
So what's it like? What's it like working with Ian? This is a safe space. You can be honest.
I think
Ian is awesome.
Ian is in the UK. Ian is the one who showed us the underground bunkers. Is that correct, guys?
He's a nice
I
guy.
believe
He's
that's
super
the Ian they're
cool, super
referring
chill.
to.
Agreed.
It's super fun to work with him,
We're not
At
even being
CitizenCon.
coerced into this. Like, he's genuinely a nice guy.
and it's such talented guy. It's crazy. Yeah.
As this move, because you were a lead artist before.
Yeah.
Has this move into being an assistant art director, has this been a natural progression? Has this been an easy transition? Do your responsibilities change much? I imagine it's less creating art.
I won't doing more hard than before, but yeah, I think it was natural. It was the next step. It's practically the same thing, but 10,000.
Guys, yeah,
bigger.
whatever is going on with this
Instead to have just
conversation,
one small team, I
it's
have
gonna stop.
all the teams.
All the same job, but with more pressure.
More
Yeah.
pressure.
And more
Pressure
people.
is the key word.
A lot more pressure. So we'll just continue clockwise here. Max, folks might remember you from the CitizenCon presentation on Lorville 2.0.
Yep.
But in case they didn't watch it, tell them who you are, what you do.
Yeah, Maxime Guédon, so lead environment artist. I worked on the Maria Pure of Art before, like the hospital mandates, New Babbage, and now the
Echo.
Lorville 2.0.
Yeah. This guy's pretty
and-
badass.
We won't get too far into it. We actually
hospitals are great.
just filmed a segment for ISC about the progress on Lorville 2.0 and everything. That'll air after the holiday break. But without getting too far into it, how's Lorville going?
It's going great for like a city that's
Also, sorry for this pause in particular, but like, is the audio crackle? Was that on the live show as well, or is that just me and I have to address it somehow?
A little bit, how should I say, a little bit dark place.
Sounds like they're
But
having
yeah,
audio
it's,
problems for
it's,
sure.
like the city is huge.
It was live.
so,
Okay, thanks,
and
guys.
it's a big mandate, I would say.
How much bigger is it now already than what's currently in the PU?
It's nearly twice.
I was getting
like, just a little
PTSD
bit
from
under, twice as big in terms of like the distance from the center
voice
of the
meter
city to the outskirts.
Gotcha. And a big part of the reason for that expansion is to add a bunch of new buildings and new locations so we can add more gameplay
Exactly.
to the landing zones and stuff. And again, we'll be talking about that in ISC in the new year.
Yeah, guys, we're doing this stuff so we could potentially add more gameplay. Yeah. Sure. And we'll talk about it next year, by the way.
Annie, who are you? What do you do? And why do you swear so much?
Because it's fun. Well, my name is Annie. I'm a producer at Turbulent Games, and these fine gentlemen are under my umbrella, so I take care of concept art, level art, and QA. And in the new year, we're kind of restructuring the team in Montreal to really have mandate-driven teams. So instead of making a distinction between level art and level design, lighting, we're just going to have teams. So I'm going to be in charge of all locations that come out of Montreal.
Okay.
It's like our mama.
I don't like them restructuring anything at Montreal, to be honest, because they're the only ones who had delivered anything in a reasonable amount of time ever at this company. Why are we going to restructure to make it the way the other teams work inefficiently, basically, in comparison? So it's just, yeah, that's kind of that one's an interesting one for me. Literally everything that Turbulent did was faster, more efficient, and had more polish than anyone. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing is what I feel, but who knows? I mean, it'll probably be a better situation, but yeah, it'll make it easier for Chris to switch them to Squadron. Exactly. I'm waiting for that inevitability.
This is why I swear. See?
And so when you talk about mandate-driven teams, you're talking about kind of like how our sandbox teams are here.
Yes.
With a level designer and artists and technical designers and QA and everybody that you kind of need. So that the entire pipeline can be done within one team. Without
Exactly.
having to hand off.
And mostly also so that it's all under the same umbrella and we don't have miscommunication. Everyone has the same visibility on everything, like from start to finish, upstream and downstream.
It sounds
I've
more
been trying
efficient.
very hard
But
since
Montreal
I
was
started
just
at
so
Turbulent
good.
to bring more of the downstream teams with us. So they're usually at the end of the waterfall, right? So if anything goes wrong at first, they're usually the ones paying the price. And we're trying to kind of mitigate that to get them into processes much earlier so that we can plan better and their life is made easier.
I can hear the audio guys crying right now.
Kim, the audio producer, is a very good friend. So we've been having good conversations.
Yeah, it's always tough, and for folks who, whether this is your first SCL or what, downstream teams are basically there's a collection.
They finish
Basically,
up
not
the
everything can be
polish
worked on at the
end.
same time. Is the simplest way to put it. And so there are teams that have to wait for other teams to do their work first, and those teams have to wait for other teams, and those teams have to
I
wait
wouldn't
for
agree.
other
Sometimes
teams. That's
things
the waterfall
aren't
approach.
broken,
And
but
there's
not
always
optimal.
somebody
A
at the end.
restructure can make things better even when they aren't broken.
Audio is very often.
Yeah, I'm just like kind of making a joke, but at the same time, like being concerned. Montreal, badass. Other studios, constantly delayed, a mess. Just like there's been problems in Star Citizen's history. Montreal comes in and just delivers on everything that they try to do, and they look really good, right? So it's kind of like an ain't broke, don't fix it. But then, yeah, what's wrong with trying to make things more efficient? It's just my brain going to the way the other studios do it, who feel and seem inefficient, make it feel weird. So yeah.
one of the last teams that gets to touch
Audio, VFX, and
VFX,
more than anyone else, I think QA. Dean, the assistant QA manager, is also a good friend, and honestly, they're really at the bottom of that waterfall. So everything that trickles down on them, it's just them wiping it up. So we're really trying to make their lives easier, because nobody would ship games if QA wasn't a part of these teams. So we need to cherish them and pat them on the back and be very nice to them.
One of the things I really like about this place, and we're off on a tangent, but who cares? It's Friday. One of the things I really like about our organization is we have the dedicated QA teams. Like we have our 9th floor here that's almost entirely QA folks like this. But we also have the embedded QAs, the people that are there right alongside the designers and the artists and everything, and seeing what they see every single day. And they can lean over like, hey, look at this. They can lean right over and see somebody's screen immediately and be like, no, you want to do this, and you want to do this, you want to do this, and stuff like this. It's one of the nice things.
I wonder if that's like
nice
a
things about
standard
COG that I
in
really
game dev
appreciate.
or is like a special thing.
Because I've worked at other studios where, to put it nicely, QA has been locked in another building altogether. And their key cards don't even access the key cards of the building where the developers are.
So have I. I started my career in QA. I was a QA for longer than I've been a producer, basically. And honestly, I've seen all of this. They're at the bottom of the food chain, and they've been treated horribly. And if you retire like that, that department, nobody would ship games, ever.
I won't name the studio, but
I
There
think
are
we know
so
what
many, man.
it is, though.
I
'cause
once went to a Christmas party where they literally had QA and game masters in a kenneled, walled-off section of a big, imagine a
Blizzard.
big giant kind of convention floor area. It was a big company, and they had a walled-off section where they stuck the QA and the game masters
That's
and people,
horrible.
That sounds
and they had their own
that's-
private
yeah.
little
Yeah.
party over there while they saw everybody else.
That's terrible. And did you hear about that other company that shall not be named that cut the entire QA department from their credits because the song wasn't long enough? The credit song wasn't long enough to accommodate.
Shame on them too.
No, I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
What
I
is
hadn't heard
that
that
one?
story. That sounds like that definitely.
It's
It's
awful.
not a difficult to believe thing. All right.
Sorry for that, tangent.
Let's see. Let's see who I've upset in the chat. Rainer, while I look for my Teams messages, why don't you tell folks who you are and what you do?
So my name's Rainer. I'm one of the lead environment artists at Turbulent Games.
A new one.
Yeah, one of the new ones.
Newly lead.
Newly lead.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The other one would be Jason, who had to leave this morning. We were previously, both of us, we were the two senior level artists.
They're doing
we both worked together at
Pyro?
Turbulent, so we worked on the Ghost Hollow mission, the Reclaimer
okay.
crash site, the space clinics, and before that, I was on the Brentworth Hospital with Maxime.
And Rainer and I have been working together for quite some time.
3 productions now.
Yep.
So I previously, before that, at ADOS on Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers. So,
You don't need to talk.
And as we work on Batman.
yeah, I
Yep.
met
I worked
Nick
with her
at
on Batman.
WB.
On Batman.
Yeah, these guys
Batman
all worked
Arkham Origins.
together at some point,
So yeah,
which is kind of cool.
It's
They're
fun
all
with
coming
the-
together.
In
And
the team, we do have juniors, but a lot of the seniors we know each other from here and there.
Yeah.
So.
this is
the
like my
video game
industry. We
is
all
a
know
very-
each other, and
The word that's in my head is incestuous.
It is.
It's my very first day here. In LA, I walked in and we had a guy, Darian Vorlick, for old Star Citizens.
community
recognized us. He
manager
used to work
for
at,
Clash of
whatever. I'm like,
Clans or
yeah.
something now.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. And I'm like, I don't remember you. I'm sorry. I'm a jerk.
But imagine how incestuous it is in Montreal, where a new studio pops up every 5 seconds. It's pretty intense.
And
man.
despite the number
Shout
of
out to Paul
studios, we still get to know, after a certain amount of years in the industry in Montreal, you still get to know, there's always 1 or 2 people in every studio.
I
'cause
know Ubisoft
it
is
moves
there,
around
but
a lot.
there's a lot of studios in Montreal,
after
I guess.
productions, people tend to switch.
It just shuffles.
Yeah.
It just basically shuffles every couple years.
looking at the live chat. And folks,
And they're thinking to themselves, well, good thing Star Citizen's never going to ship, so we never have to shuffle. Great.
this is a more free-form show than normal. If you have questions for our guests, feel free to throw them in the chat. Remember that they are on the turbulent locations.
I've never been to
team,
Montreal.
So if you're asking about a spaceship
I technically
or
have been, but
salvage
not
or something,
really.
this won't be the team for it. Freelancer Alpha says, Jared, just go. God, 10 years on, what has he done? Just chat nonsense?
Pretty much.
Jesus, man.
Oh, hold on, you guys do the show. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go work on cargo.
Yeah. What is he supposed to do? It's his job to chat nonsense.
So we talked a little bit about art director, you know, and well, let's touch on this a bit more. We've done a lot of segments about concept artists and designers. I think we've never actually told the story of what an art director does. So walk me through. I know there's no typical day in game, but
I think we
what are an
have-
art director's responsibilities?
The thing is, Ian is a hard director.
It was a really long time ago. I think it was when it was still ATV. And he was my favorite employee ever at Star Citizen. I'm sure this is breaking some kind of NDA or something, but I've told this story before. But when Star Marine shipped and I went to the LA studio, I cannot remember his name. I think his first name was Chris. I don't remember his last name. He had big old glasses. He was the art director at the LA studio. And he was just so friendly and so nice. And just like made me and DJ feel at home because, you know, we're kind of sitting around a lot in between builds and waiting for, you know, some bugs to get fixed or whatever. And we're hanging out waiting to we were basically part of QA at that point, and we're just waiting for the next thing to happen. And he was just making us feel at home and everything, and just was asking us questions about our lives and just like wanted to get to know us. And he was just super, super cool. He ended up doing some like he's like a head of a school of art or something like that now, I think. But yeah, it's just super cool guy. But I'm pretty sure the last time he was on camera, they talked about fauna. And I think they talked about like the art director position a little bit at that point.
Add me as assistants. Actually, I'm just helping all the team to just stay in the track, because we have concepts to create our environment. So it's kind of, I'm not going to decide, okay, today we're going to do this or do that, because all that has already been decided.
Okay.
So it's just giving support and just be sure that people stay focused on the mandate and where we're going.
And it's seeing the high level, right? Because you have your leads under you who can take care of your team. So like Nick is there to do the very high level stuff with me, where we can see things.
Have the
coming
whole
in
big
advance.
concept
Next
come
mandate.
together.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm still giving support. I'm still working in the editor. I'm not just high level and just talking and doing meetings.
I'm still assigning bugs to you. So.
Yeah, it's true. Fixing bugs and stuff.
Yeah, you channel the information, and it trickles down from Ian to Nick, and then to us, the leads, and then to our teams.
I think you guys know more my data.
They know more about
That is
his
not an
job than he
uncommon
does.
phenomenon. It's not an uncommon phenomenon. One of the we'll go from Nick to you, Annie. Another one of the positions that we don't get to explore very often in our behind the scenes material is a producer, and a producer is an especially difficult one because
They have
for as many
explored
years I've been in this
producers
industry, no two
multiple
producers
times.
are alike. And I'm not talking about the people who are doing the job. I mean the job. It's producer can mean a wildly different thing in different studios. It can mean a wildly different thing between different teams. So talk to me about your role as a producer and what your job entails.
That's true. It's super abstract because, you know, and it can change like on a dime as well. But I think the way I see my job is to make these guys' lives easier by organizing the workload. Like if my leads and my assistant art director are focused on like, oh my God, we need to make tasks. What are we doing this sprint? How much time is it going to take? We have a problem. Who's going to fix it? Who do we need to talk to? If they're busy doing that, they can't focus on their work. So basically my job is to make sure that they stay focused, and I run along to find
herding
solutions
cats.
and to find answers to their questions. Also keeping in mind that I need to be, you know, the contact point between all of those downstream teams we were just talking about.
Yeah,
and
this is
make
the
sure
boss.
the planning works, and make sure that we, you know,
Obviously,
deal with
like there's
curveballs when they arrive.
there's like managers above the team, but this is the person who runs the team. They're the boss. I would call this
And
my boss,
basically
yeah,
just-
if I was in this
There's
scenario.
Sometimes. I will not confirm or deny what you just said.
Let's talk about some. Let's talk about some of those. What are some of the curveballs that
I don't
that-
think
that
discipline comes
come
from the
to
producer,
the team
but
that a producer would
direction
have to go and
seems
find
to.
solutions for?
I mean, you know, in
Okay,
life
this is what you
and
got-
at
what
work,
you're
there is
doing.
miscommunication every once in a while. So you can plan all you want, especially in the video game industry. You could plan. Oh, sorry. You could plan ahead as much as you
I would be at my casino job. I would be considered like the producer role essentially.
want, and you would still hit some road bumps, basically. So we will sometimes plan for a certain mandate, and then the scope will change because we will have new ideas, we will develop new technology, we will. I mean, patches will get pushed back for one reason or another, and we need to adapt to that. So we need to be able to be reactive and keep a cool head when that happens.
I'm Diab, I'm going to see if I can say that right, says, what are the minimum requirements for joining QA? And also, any chance of adding a studio in California? We have a studio in California. I worked there the last 7 years. It's still there. But let's talk about
For
the QA
now,
thing. What are the requirements for joining
If there's
QA?
one
QA is
studio
the
that
starting
probably
point
should
for
go,
so
it's
many
it's probably the LA studio now. They're as like just look at who was there when Jared was there. It was basically just Jeremiah Lee. So I don't know how big it grew or anything like that, but there just wasn't like the major teams weren't there, and I think the only reason that it was there was because that's where Chris lived, if I remember correctly. Like, this is where Chris lives. They wanted to move the studio back there. Like, I remember when they first opened the LA studio, like that was one of the reasons behind it, you know?
people. We have lead producers who start as
Now
QA.
it's
We have
like
directors
a huge
who
studio
started
in-
as QA.
in the UK is kinda changing all
It's a wonderful
that.
entry point for almost any path in game development.
It is, I would go as far as saying it is the best entry point. The best producers, it looks like I'm patting myself on the back here, but the best producers I've known in this industry came from QA. Just because it's so versatile. Like, you have your hands everywhere. You have such, you know,
I think the
top
Austin
vision
studio's
of
been
a
the same
project
for years.
when you work in QA. It's pretty similar. Like, when I made the transition to production, it wasn't that big of a jump, just because I had visibility on the entirety of the project, how it was going, when the patches were coming out, how many bugs were there, what states the map were in. So, I mean, and to answer the question of minimum requirements, I just hired a dev QA embedded on my team who has 0 experience, but the guy has a good background and he looks hungry to learn. And sometimes it's even better to get people with no experience because, you know,
train them
don't
exactly.
have
Untrain them. You don't have to get rid of bad
exactly.
habits.
It's a blend.
We would do this in poker too. I hated it personally, but I was part of the decision making hiring at one casino. I don't work there anymore, and the people who are completely raw is how my like the upper management wanted people that didn't know what they were talking about or do it, like were they sort of got it, but they weren't experienced because they thought that they could teach them. But the upper management never were the people who taught the dealers. It was people like me who didn't have the time to teach anybody anything because we were busy doing our own jobs. So I wanted experienced people because I could just focus on my own job. And yeah, so they have a few bad habits, but they're experienced. And yeah, untraining people is harder than training them. Agreed. But in this case, when you're working directly with somebody and it's a little bit, it's more hands-on, and you're not juggling 500 things at one time like I was at this place, it's like a really good scenario to just teach people up exactly the way you want them, especially with the way Jared is talking. Like, every studio is so wildly different. Even if you did QA somewhere else, it would probably be very different at CIG.
Thanks,
right?
Slate. They didn't catch any bad habit yet from other places. So sometimes it's a blessing in disguise.
And I guess the will to learn is a huge point.
Yeah.
That, like, when we hire juniors, when we filter, when we go through the filtering and the interviews, sometimes it's the will, like they're showing them showing the willingness to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big factor, I find, for selection.
The most important. Sure.
Yeah.
I like an inexperienced person with potential a million times more than an old wolf who doesn't
Because there's less
really
baggage
want to prove himself
and bad habits.
and is over it. Yeah, because there are a lot of those too. so.
People that show passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still have good old wolf who still want the
Oh,
work
there's a
and
ton
have,
of
still
that
have this
too.
fire inside.
I'm not,
All of us?
generalization, but
Yeah, these are all the old wolves.
Armature 01 says, asking as a junior project manager, how granular do you define tasks and how do you estimate how long each will take?
that's experience, man. Like, it's really hard. Like, the amount of time a task will take is just when you've been on a project for a while and you know your people and you know how fast they work.
She sounds a bit
depended
ageist. They're
how
talking
much
about
you are on
junior
the
roles.
teams,
It's
depends.
not one size fits
Maybe
all.
listen to what they're
not
saying
at all.
before you
and,
make comments like that.
granular. Again, it depends on your team. Like, my art team is very autonomous, and I don't need to go into too much detail to keep them focused. But like, other teams will function
she's
in a way
ageist, why
where
is she around all these
they'll
old
hammer
people
out
next to her?
like 10 tasks a week. So you need to be more granular with them. But it really depends on the discipline you're managing. Like, not knowing which project you're managing, it's hard to answer, but it really depends on your team. Get to know your team and their strong points and their weaknesses, and that's really what helps.
Chat with this name says, can I have your RSI laptop? No, it's just a sticker. It's just a sticker on a little case that I got from Wish. See, it comes off. It's not fancy. It's just a regular laptop with the fancy thing. So Rainier, what are you working on right now?
I'm working on the derelict cabs. It'll be like,
Derelict habs.
well, no, like habitation pods, or even maybe garages or little like workshops built from
the
ship pieces. So that's something that we'll be bringing into
Base
the
building or whatever.
following releases. Something to dress up with the crash sites.
Bro, does anybody listen to the audio during the show? Like, they got this whole big ass production. Like, in the middle of the show, just go over and like check his mic out. There's more like audio production value on an NMP LOL stream than a Star Citizen Live thing. What the fuck?
So we saw one of the early ones in the Ghost Hollow mission. That was one of the first habs that we made, and we're just adding more of like
Creating this library of
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So,
creating all the puzzle pieces to just be able to pick and choose then which one
Yeah.
you want to spread around the verse.
Maybe they're like,
That's cool.
you know,
There's
they're
all
still
sorts
getting
of different-
their shit down, but like, I would be totally fine as a listener or a viewer for one of the other people that work with Jared to come on the show and swap out his mic.
functions to these habs, like workshops or maybe just sun barriers or shelters,
cover.
cover. Yeah.
They look great. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah, we'll have those. You'll see those on the first. I think it's the first ISC back after the new year. We'll have a segment on the new derelict cabs and the big asset library zoo. I always like to call them a zoo, but I guess that we're creating. It's like this.
Derelict hab.
How come none of you
Sounds
are
like
wearing
Outpost
SC
stuff.
clothing merch? That's
We were
really what
on
you
other
wanna ask?
days.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
you were
we
wearing
had our
turbulent
Turbulent
games
shirts.
Yeah, turbulent
Yeah.
game shirt. I saw somebody's turbulent game shirt, and I was like, I want a turbulent game
Yeah.
shirt.
They're
And
actually really nice.
give us a break. We're at the end of a work trip. Like, laundry is scarce.
Yeah, we're wearing some of our last shirts.
I still have one. I still have one shirt.
Yeah, for the plane.
How many times did you flip your underwear?
Every day. No, I change.
He said every day.
The views and opinions of Annie do not represent those of Cloud Frame Games, Robert Space Industries, Turbulent Games, or its subsidiaries.
That wasn't a swear.
All right. I knew it was going to be one of these shows when I started. Yeah, they're all talking about Laundry Day. Yes, fine. Is it live? No. This was pre-recorded, and we thought this was the best possible version of the show to put forth.
With a swear count up to 1 so far.
Don't like make it a challenge.
I just want to say bonjour les gens turbulents qui nous regardent en ce moment.
Allô, les amis.
Salut tout le monde.
I just say hi to our
Hi,
team
Mom.
in Montreal.
Oh, I thought you were saying
Do
hi,
that,
Mom.
talk to the team in Montreal in French. Go ahead. I won't know what you're saying.
J'espère que vous êtes en train de regarder parce que sinon,
Okay,
Faut
what
douceur.
was that?
Voilà.
gonna get you.
Sinon, vous allez avoir plus de Gira.
Oh, oui. That's actually a good threat. I like it.
Oh, so she
Sorry,
definitely
guys.
made a threat. He made another threat.
With
but-
that, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll have more with the Turbulent Games team here. They'll just be in different chairs. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Wait, so they're gonna have a break?
Do you hunger for the challenge? Pitted against
Well, yeah, maybe
nature,
now they'll. Okay,
human-
so I'll take back what I said about the audio thing. Maybe they'll plan to fix it during the break. But yeah, live would be. I would be okay if they did it live. All right, here's where it starts back up.
There has to be at least one place where people can get away from me. As far as I recognize that,
Nope, they didn't
there's the
fix
Star
it.
Citizen experience, and then all around the Star Citizen, there's me. And in like to your point, it's like I don't want to be in the game. There needs to be some place in Star
Oh,
Citizen.
she
where
said,
people
I
are like,
hope that you were
"I can get
currently
away from
watching.
Jared."
Otherwise,
And I can get away from Jared by going
Yeah.
indoors.
I think we will do Habs, your Habs. Derelict Habs.
This is my hab.
Yeah, maybe we can create a derelict version of your Habs.
You have a derelict version.
Please don't sign us up for more work.
Just thinking.
I mean, there'll
Like,
definitely be a
in the
derelict
game, but
version of
the-
this ship
you
at some
posted
point.
that said, Jared was here.
Was here with.
we
yeah.
actually already have that. There's a this is
I
humorous
mean, he has the
considering I've been
Pico
sick
balls
for
as
about a
well.
month now. There is a bottle of Cloud CT Lando Fever syrup that's been in the game. It was actually created by Behavior. Back when they were working with us in 2014, 2015, things like that. So that's actually been in the game for a couple of years. That actually predates my employment here. So I had that asset in the game, and that's as far into the game as I ever need to be. I'm content to being the
Is that the thing that's in
impenetrable
the hangar
fog
flare?
that surrounds it. People should be able to jump in game and escape. So welcome back to Star Citizen Live. We have members from the Turbulent Games.
I don't
team
believe
here.
that. I think Jared
Our
should have something
Montreal,
in-game.
A team that's these guys, for instance, these guys and gals are focused primarily on locations. The new upcoming Lorville 2.0, the derelicts that have been vastly improved and making their way throughout the Stanton system. To that end, our next question from the chat comes from Cradle Robin. I didn't say that out loud, but hadn't said that out loud before I read it.
Yeah, that's a name.
Are there going to be more of the derelict locations added to Stanton, or is it mainly Pyro that the work is going into?
Right now,
I thought they said
we're
both.
thinking about making more on Stanton because Pyro is not really ready yet to create too much stuff on it. So yeah, we'll say that. But eventually,
Bro,
we're going to.
that's a little bit of a note. Pyro is still not ready yet to create stuff on it. What?
have
It
a
should
lot
go
of
to
them.
Like, here's the deal. Server meshing is apparently the holdup. Is it? What the fuck? Are you serious? Like, that's something that it's like, okay. Now, my question is, because this is something that could be realistic and what may have happened is Pyro not being ready yet could possibly be because they know server meshing was nowhere near ready. So we're not going to release it. So the people who would work on Pyro maybe started working on other things.
Pyro. It should.
Right now?
Yeah.
Event-
Well, not
Eventually?
Eventually.
No, not
yeah.
right now, but
Eventually.
soon. Yeah. For the next year, will be more Stanton, but eventually will be everywhere.
I mean,
Each brand.
I
For
can
the
give
next
you the
year.
scoop that we're starting to look at that in Q1.
Yeah. No, with the use of the Rastar tool and everything, its development, it's basically Stanton is the testing bed for that tool and using that. And they're placing down the outposts and stuff now. The new upcoming outpost with it, and then it will of course be used for Stanton or for Pyro when that time comes.
And to go with one of your questions, why we were here, actually meeting the guys working on with Rastar, that was one of the reasons why we came, is to get like
Okay.
some training on it and to see how it works live, because sometimes training is a bit easier,
In person,
doing this
yeah.
like in person rather than over
Zoom.
Zoom or Teams.
So at this point, I'm going to have to do what's called a little station keeping here, because chat is glomming onto your comment about Pyro and how you're not working on Pyro right now. So I'm going to do some station keeping here. For folks who maybe don't follow the entire breadth of Star Citizen's development, Pyro
What about for the ones who do?
can't be added to the Precision Universe until server meshing is in. Server meshing needs prerequisites like persistent entity streaming coming in 3.18, and these things all take several months and months to do.
That's not art.
Stanton's not.
Yeah, let me think here. Like this is bad. Okay? Cuz this is where there's contradictory statements and this is really shitty, okay? Very often does CIG have to explain to the community that artists don't make gameplay. Artists don't make network code, right? Things like that. Artists just keep doing what they're doing. So, and I've seen these comments before, and to me, these comments even made a little bit of sense. Why, server meshing has taken extra years and years and years extra. Who's to say that Pyro wouldn't also come with another star system, right? And because I believed what they say is true, where artists don't make gameplay, don't make network code, who's to say that Nyx wouldn't also come? Now we know, and I mean, we saw it at CitizenCon, Pyro is not finished. Not even close. This is what happens when you don't have a deadline. This is what happens when you don't have to deliver anything. This.
Finished. I saw somebody say Stanton is finished, and I think Stanton's not finished. We're still building Stanton. We're still building Pyro. We're still building Nyx, stuff like this. But it's not a thing where you just. It goes akin to what John Cruz said. John Cruz said had a line in our IAE all ships.
Jared, nobody cares if Pyro is finished, but we expect the studio in Montreal to be able to place things on the planet Pyro in December 2023. That's the issue here. December 2023, the expectation would be Pyro to be finished enough to be to be able to place things like you can do in Stanton. Pyro should be in the state in which Stanton is in now. That would be the expectation of the backers at this point, because there were supposed to be PTUs of, I believe, like an Evo or maybe early in the very beginning of next year an Evo of 4.0 was the plan. It was June 318, end of year 319, beginning of year 4.0 was the original plan. Why is art not following the original thing, right? When art doesn't have anything to do with these other things. This is me putting my thoughts out there, but it's also asking the question to people is I don't understand that. And yeah, another just like mega red flag.
Super Talk Spectacular from a couple weeks ago that was also taken out of context, where actually it wasn't John Crew, it was Ben Curtis, where they talked about where's the best place to put your work and your effort right now. And it is,
yeah.
The question comes if
probably
you
what
can
happened.
Work right now to put something in the game right now.
Why work on Pyro if it's not
use
coming?
than if you can
Is
work to
essentially
put
what
something
happened.
in the game 6 months from now, because you can work next month to put the thing in 6 months from now. So game development is a constant series.
They just
of
kick the can down the
priority
line,
shiftings and adjustments, and
which
sure
does make sense.
I'm not revealing any secrets to anybody who talks about Star Citizen and who shares in the content creation of Star Citizen. They will know that the priorities change and shift dramatically during the course of development. So, but it always prioritizes what can be done now and what can be done next and stuff like that. So as we move closer to the time.
So if I had one question, if I was in this room and could ask Jared a question, I would be curious of what did those people end up doing then? You know, so if the planets aren't in a place where they could be, placeable things, I would ask Jared, well, what did it shift from? And where did it go to? What did people end up working on at, I guess, the UK studio, shifting from delivering Pyro in its finished state? What did they end up working on? I mean, we know that there wasn't the tech for the solar flares, right? We saw that at CitizenCon. I'm curious where they ended up going. You think they went to Squadron? Maybe, But yeah, that would be my thing. I'm not angry. It is a red flag. It is a concern. And when Jared says what he says here, that's where I thought the direction of it was going. And obviously this is like a reaction video, so I'm going to react to the statement in the time, and then I'll react to the response to that, and all seems valid to me, but yeah. No, so the teams that they're talking to now is not the team that is designing Pyro, right? The team that did Pyro is in the UK, and these are the guys who do like the Derelicts, and this is the Montreal team, so this is different. So some other team has not polished Pyro to the point where this team can deliver their work to Pyro.
Where it's like, okay, now the underlying systems are in place and we can actually put Pyro into the persistent universe. That's where the ramp up on that stuff goes. That's why when you looked at we had presentations with Pyro during DCC,
things should come a lot
he
faster
talked
at the
about
end.
how Pyro is basically
I don't
like
believe
80%
they will.
complete. They bring the planets to that 80% and then they stop. They pause because there's no need to finish it off now.
Yeah.
When the technology will continue to grow and continue to evolve. When it's ready to go in, that's when they will finish it off and polish it
so I'm
up
just curious
with
what
the
they're doing now,
technology
that's
and the
all.
tools and the procedures that are available to us then.
I'm just curious,
I
what
don't think I'm
planets
telling
are the
anybody
planet team
anything that
working on?
Isn't already out there, isn't already known. It's just, that's how game development works.
Yeah. Why would you prioritize something that's
That
not getting
and
shipped?
Elevators will always kill you. Those two things are like the eternal truths of game development. So Crown 8 says, what items do you want to work on in the future that you're building assets for now? Well, if they're building assets for now, they'd be working on it now. So let's change the question to what do you want to work on in the future? Just if you had your pick, we just talked about shifting priorities. If you got to set a priority, and I'm just asking you to talk about it personally, what would you want to work on?
I could start.
Yeah?
Yeah, the building interiors.
Hell
in the
yeah.
future. I'm going to develop the building interiors, and I'm very much interested in developing like the procedural level building, basically.
That's exciting to hear. The guy who's going to do the internal parts of the buildings, and I think they're going to do it after they do the rework of Lorville. That's what he's excited the most about. So he's going to put his heart and he's going to pour his love into it. And I think that's going to be, I am like, my confidence level with places like the Lorville rework are because these guys are really good at what they do. And I'm really
and
excited
building
for that
interiors
shit.
are not just to be able to walk inside a building and just have more stuff to look at. You mean building interiors so that we can do mission content and
Yes.
gameplay content
Yes.
and stuff like that inside.
Yeah, gameplay related shit.
Let's go next.
Thank you.
And me
Thank
would
you,
be the opposite
Montreal.
of doing exteriors, since I've been doing a lot of interiors since I've started. Well, besides Ghost Hollow, but working. I don't know if I can say what I'll be working on, jumping on.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Nothing you guys are working on is secret right now.
Okay, so I'll be jumping onto the UGFs, the underground facilities, and the Montreal team is going to start with
nice.
the first zone, the surface parts. So working directly on the planet and making a big compound.
Hell yeah.
That's another thing that we came here for. We wanted to meet with John Griffith and company so that we could get like a solid kickoff and hit the ground running in Q1.
Nice.
Since they'll be working on the UGF as well, but in different zones. So we'll be working as a team, but each Montreal will be working on the surface, and Manchester will be working in one of the floors, and then we'll switch and dig.
And that's the thing you want to be working on that,
Yeah.
that you're not already working on.
Yeah.
Actually, our next mandate are so awesome that it's
We always pick what we want to work on.
exactly.
Yeah.
I try to make sure that everyone goes on to something that they're passionate about. So
Yo,
we've
sick.
hammered this out in the past couple.
That's actually really cool. The things that they want to work on are what they want to work on. And these, like, they're actually hyped about it.
months, and we've distributed our teams on mandates that would motivate them.
The building there was going to be crazy. All those buildings over there, maybe not all, but a lot of them will have content in it. We have
We'll have some industrial and
industrial,
some residential, and
commercial, rooftops, say maybe sewer.
Yeah,
All this
rundown.
building will
Maybe
be able to connect
sewers.
each other, so we're going to add so much gameplay on
And
those.
holding cells, I think, like prisons for.
Yeah. I think.
eventually we're all looking at that. We're seeing what works, what doesn't, and we'll hammer out the proof of concept for this, and then we'll be doing a
Montreal
bunch of
team's the
those.
best team
making
by
the
far.
world more world.
It's not even close.
That's such
world to
producer
world.
talk, what you're doing right now.
That's good poesy. Poesy?
Poetry.
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 Yeah. Canada777 says, Pyro is basically done, bruh. They explained this. Pyro is sitting around waiting for server mission. That's like the opposite of what I just said. Polar
It's so
opposite
true.
of what I just said.
This is like, this is the Star Citizen community. They say something and they get the complete, they flip it around to be the complete different thing. It's so funny. And like the Star Citizen simps, like will do that. They'll take Jared's words and say the opposite. It's so
and how about
funny.
you?
For me?
You get to have a vote.
Well, I'm really, really excited about the mandates that they just talked about. And we're going to have a lot more in the next year. I think you guys are aware that Montreal is ramping up the team. So we're going to take on
I would
more
imagine
and more
she's exciting
super
about
exciting
growing.
mandates. But sadly, I can't talk about all of them. So it'll be for next time I'm over. I can tell you guys about it.
So I was about to.
I was going to add something. With the UGFs, I think one thing that's going to be different, because all the other mandates we had were very local, like everything was made in Montreal. So for the UGF, that's going to be one mandate where we're really going to work with
Integrated with the
Manchester
More
UK.
collaboration.
a lot more
Yes.
collaboration. So it feels like we're becoming more and more part of the family, which is cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
True.
It's one of the initiative of coming over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Please don't become a part of the family. Just stay in Montreal. Do your own thing there. Don't worry about being a part of the family. Listen, these guys, they're kind of like the weird uncle that, just starts saying all sorts of weird shit. And you're, at Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. And you just stay in Montreal. don't get delay disease or whatever they have over here in the UK, and just focus on what you guys are doing, because you're doing way too good.
Meet those teams.
We don't want you to be part of the family. We want you to be the cool
There's a
uncle.
follow-up to your questions. Will locations you are working on be modular, where they can be generated almost procedurally and changing gameplay angles?
Yes.
That's all
yeah.
UGF is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only
And the
UGF,
building
but like
interiors as
building
well.
interiors would have some procedural elements. Those additional like derelict locations that we were talking about will be, with Rastar, we're going to take like those pieces that we built in the past few quarters, and we're going to spread them somewhat procedurally. So yeah, pretty much everything we'll be working on in the next year follows that pattern.
And the early test that we did with the space clinics, we made them in modules, and the level designers used those modules to build. So we built like one initial space clinic as a target, and then the tech level designers used that to create a recipe to populate all the other space clinics in the space station.
Yeah.
So
And now we
And
have
some
like
rules,
the
basically,
sort of
right?
random
so that
looking
every
ones.
piece would actually fit together,
yeah,
and that we never procedurally put two things that don't quite fit.
yeah.
So
And just so that we don't leave them out, that question came from My Meat Stick.
I know my
that's
main
an
stick.
excellent name.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Oh, you pure little boy.
Cancel 1395 says, is the derelict village turbulent designed first and was shown off for them as the announcement still being worked on? I think you're talking about the Javelin. You're talking about the big Javelin crash, the kind of proof of concept, one of the
Yeah.
earliest things you worked on. This comes up every time we have something that remotely touches turbulent. People are like, is that still on?
No,
No,
that thing was more.
It was an onboarding test.
It was an
Yeah.
onboarding test. It was just for us to just get used to the tools, get used to the pipeline, and just try to
The
learn
editor
how the
too.
CIG work. Yeah.
Because I think it's maybe the only studio in Montreal that uses CryEngine. So for us, it was getting into CryEngine and learning it.
Sorry,
So,
guys.
So no plans to put that in there.
No.
Next,
Anyways, the things that we've done are better, I think.
next question, why do you hate the backers?
We don't.
I don't hate them.
I don't think.
Why doesn't this go in? Why not do it? Isn't it done? Is John
would have to
Horvath,
do
is it
it
just
because
done?
Yeah, we
It's-
would have to redo it from scratch
Yeah.
almost, and
It's kind of
The
like there was-
technology has already moved forward quite a bit since we touched that, but we can take that idea and put it in our back pocket and think about it in a while. But yeah, it would need some massive rework.
Because it was more of a proof of concept, and yeah, like Max said, it would
Yeah.
probably have to be.
Why do
redone.
we need that? Who
it
cares?
worked
properly.
with some camera angles, but as soon as like the whole location or in terms of missions, it wasn't really thought that
It's
way.
like a movie set. It was.
You can just look one side, but not the other side.
Guys, Star Citizen is just like a movie set as well, okay? The entire fucking game is just a movie set. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you push too hard, it's gonna.
Yeah. It was cool though.
It looked great, but yeah, that's what it was. It was something to sink our teeth in when we arrived.
Okay.
No, that was actually my introduction to Pierre-Luc at the time, because I had put it on and then I got this message from somebody. It's like, where did you get that? I was like, I do what I want, as long as they allow me. Habanero sauce. Oh, it scrolled.
This is
says,
cool. They're actually
how much
taking
story or how much does story
questions.
or lore
They haven't done that in a little bit.
affect your work? How much story is there in the stuff that you create? Do you just make stuff and then you send it to the narrative team and like make it make sense, or do you actually take stuff from narrative or feedback from narrative and
I mean, the thing this guy worked on had a lot of lore, right? The Reclaimer missions and stuff, but so far not a whole lot. I
apply
don't
it
think.
as you're
It's just mission write-ups.
creating?
I think we bring in the narrative team, like we show them where we're at, I talk about like for Lowerville Skyline in particular, we just like show them like what we're at like in terms of placeholder and then in terms of branding and like telling them that like this is the size of the city, like this is the different areas that we have and we need like a little bit of variation into that. Then they go to work
like
with that and they bring their ideas too. And it's
make it
just
look
like,
cool and then add some life to
synergy
it.
with
Yeah, it's a healthy mix of both, I think. You know, we get the concept from the concept artist, and then we work something out, and then we try to involve narrative as early as possible in the process so that they can have, you know, a first look and wrap their head around what we're trying to do, and then they always come up with the most wonderful ideas. So yeah, we try to meld everything together, but yeah.
But sometimes the ideas come from us. We have idea about crash, why those crash happens, and we can just send our ideas to the narrative, and they can just accept it and say, "Oh yeah, we can do that."
And we're doing little derelict habs to full derelict spacecraft. You know, we're now doing derelict spacecraft in space. Has the name, I scrolled by and I lost the name, I'm sorry. But any discussions about derelict space stations? Just going one bigger, an entire
Pyro, right?
broken down, run down space station. Not like Ruin Station, which is still in operation. It's just, but like a old and empty derelict space station. Or maybe even a crash space station.
Oh shit, that would be fucking
They've
awesome.
been discussed.
Yes, we're talking about it. I don't remember the name. Is the what's the name of the big star system? I don't remember.
Stand-in?
No, it's the big.
Terra?
Port Olisar?
Port Olisar.
Port Olisar.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. We were talking about maybe we're going to crash Port Olisar on the planet somewhere eventually.
But for now, I
Could
don't
be nice.
think I don't think this is a mandate that's going to be on us. And if it is, it won't be for now.
And it wouldn't work. It doesn't make any sense to crash Port Olisar on a planet. Because it's around a gas giant and we would never see it, right? As cool of an idea, like when Olisar eventually does go away, what planet would it end up on? Right? It's kind of that's a cool, I'm sure that they just like chatted and talked about a way to send Port Olisar out, but it would just end up in the core somewhere. Nobody would ever see it, right? It would have to be a moon, but how would it get there? It's like, yeah, it's a whole weird thing. I mean, maybe they could pay homage to Port Olisar somewhere on a planet in another star system, saying that it was, like Toad. I see that in chat, or that it was the same design, similar design or something. I don't know, man. That would be cool, but I don't see that as like a thing. So I wouldn't hold on to that as the Star Citizen community as like a thing that might actually happen, right? Because it would be hard to make sense of it for me personally, as much of a cool idea as that is, right? That is a really cool way to send Port Olisar out, and I think it would be the best way to pay homage and pay honor to this fucking horrible space station that we've had for so long, but also awesome at the same time space station that we've had for so long,
But that could make a nice silhouette.
Yeah.
Go to my camera, Tom. This is where I have to remind people that talking is talking. We discuss a lot of things. It's just like concepts and whatnot. We will explore many ideas. That is not, please. Like I already see the people. I already see the one running to Reddit right now. Nicholas said they're going to crash Port Olisar on a planet.
No, I said
like, what
thinking
planet?
about.
It's like,
We
doesn't
thought
make any
about
sense.
maybe we could crash Port Olisar on the planet.
We've had lots of discussions over the years about what we can do with Port Olisar. And, we've even talked about them, here on the show.
Yeah, there's got to be something. We got to do something good to it, You got to pay honor to it.
I think there's a definitive intention to end Port Olisar's life
Yes.
at some point. How we're going to do it and in what manner is still being discussed.
Yeah, it could still be years away.
Oh, it requires some
yeah. Of
planning,
course.
guys.
Because it's
Yeah.
if that's in the surface of a planet,
Turn it
it's
into
a huge
a museum on
undertaking, and-
Orison is literally the worst way to pay honor to it. Sorry to put your idea down, but this thing has to go out in a big way. Museums for the most part are boring, right? I actually like going to museums and stuff, but in general they're quiet and you look at things and it's a nice day out with the family or whatever, right? But Port Olisar has to go out in flames. It's got to go out in flames. Period. And it's got to end up like, all right, let's look at some of the most iconic kind of sci-fi things are often derelict, destroyed spaceships crashed on a planet, like things like that. I really think of the last 3 Star Wars movies and that huge destroyer that Rey was salvaging and stuff, that's kind of how I would like to see Port Olisar. That's just my opinion, right? I mean, hey, maybe you really want it to be a museum. It is what it is, but yeah, but Crusader just doesn't work for that. It's like Daymar would be the best place, right? Or some other desert looking or very, I don't know, even like rainforest with some moss hanging off of it. I just want to see the rings sticking out of the ground. You know what I mean? Turn it into a racetrack, bro. Enough fucking racetracks, okay?
Well, no matter what we do end up doing with Port Olisar, it's going to need careful planning.
This
so.
needs to be the
because
last
it's going to be unique, so
month
take a lot of times, a lot of people.
racetracks for a while. They've done a lot for the racing community.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't even know necessarily
can move on
what
after
we have
this.
against it, other than it's really old and really resource intensive because it was made with the procedures and knowledge that we had in 2015, and it's like we desperately want to replace it and improve it. Put something better that's more performative, that serves more needs and stuff like that. So
It'd be a poetic way to end it, like turning the page on an old relic and kind of giving a story to the
Send
Star
off.
Citizen.
Yes,
Yeah.
to come
Yeah.
back.
Proper send-off.
Send
Yeah.
off.
So dramatic.
How do they,
Siege of Port Orison, or Port
upgrade
Olisar,
or...
Port Orison. I'm tired.
I mean, personally, listen, just to go back to it for 1 second, it would be really inefficient to take an old space station, destroy it, and build a new one. If I was CIG, I think what they would probably do and what would make the most sense, or if I was Orison and I was Crusader that owned the station, you would just build upon it and make it kind of look like the Port Tressler and all those things. It would have the same look, but there would be more stuff on it,
I'm sick, folks. I'm tired. I'm trying. Let's see what else. What do you, Max? What do you want to talk about?
Not for anything.
I want to hear more about building interiors.
Port Orison confirmed. Yeah. Sorry, folks. I got a major thing like a month ago, and I'm still working my way through it. So apologize. Today is a fuzzy head day. Yeah, serial killers. Like, why do you hate PO? Have you used our PO system? It's terrible.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you hate
Something
Port
for our
Olisar?
producers. So I don't know when we're just about out of time anyway. I don't know when the next time we're gonna have a group of folks over. I've never been to Montreal. I've never been to Turbulent Studio. It's the only studio I haven't visited.
You should come in
You should
February.
come visit. Oh, no, don't do that.
February 23rd.
That's
is
terrible advice.
But I know some people will be there in January.
What's in February?
The Villazang will be there in January.
Really?
Oh,
And,
they'll be here.
Here,
You mean
yeah.
they'll be here? And yes. So you'll get to meet a couple of our design folks, character art folks as well. Yeah, there was like a little round of people who got promoted into new titles. So yeah, you'll get to see them in January. And then Nick and I should visit more often as well. So we'll be back.
So what I was getting to then is since I don't know when the next time you guys are going to be back, is there any final things, any last things you want the Star Citizen community to know about you, your jobs, the studio, your work? You've literally got an array of cameras here. Talk. What do you want to say to them? What do you want to say to them?
Well, I can say just I don't know. I work in the industry since a while now, and working on Star Citizen, it's one of my best experience yet. So it's super nice, super cool, super awesome,
Cool.
and
It's good to hear.
I think we will work super hard to just give to everyone the best game ever.
Yeah.
It's the most rewarding project, and we're a very cohesive group, and it's really fun.
The team rules, and also
You're a very cohesive group for now until you have to start working with the other studios. Oh, no.
not swearing for a full hour was very hard.
I don't always succeed myself. All right, so yeah. So
Okay, I have to read this comment, guys, because it's so good. Port Olisar is terrible. All the shops are conveniently placed near the ASOP terminal, and I don't have to use 3 elevators to get from your hab to my ship. God, I hate it. All right, maybe everything should be Port Olisar when you put it that way.
That's it. This has been Star Citizen Live, the Montreal Protocol. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry I was a bit discombobulated. I'm doing the best I can. I hopped up on a
I thought the
whole
show
lot
was
of
fun.
medication. If you haven't already, check out this week's Inside Star Citizen. It has a nice look at members of the Tools team and their work helping build stability and making sure the wheels of game dev continue to churn. And then, of course, the Polaris concept model internal layout rework.
That we don't have any
that was
plans
finally
of releasing
showcased.
at this point. It's not on the
our best look
public-facing
yet
roadmap.
At the interior
blah,
layout
blah.
of the
Blah, blah, blah,
Polaris,
blah, blah.
the big honkin' torpedo ship that could. And then come on back next week. Next week's going to be an interesting one. ISC is changing format to be a Journey to 4.0 special. If you saw our CitizenCon presentations this year, many
Can we get the Journey to 318 special first? God damn it.
of them were themed about a special Journey to 4.0 presentations.
Yeah,
we have
real
another
fucking
one,
special.
and several more coming throughout the next months.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be several more of those.
2023, and the first of the new rash of Journey to 4.0 features is coming next Thursday, where ISC is. So you can check that out. It's about audio concepts for the Pyro system and trying to create a
A Journey to 4.0 audio concepts of the Pyro system. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I can't with this bullshit, dude. I can't. Holy fucking shit. I can't. Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me with this.
Can't
be real. To quote Reezer, this can't be real life.
And then we'll be right back here next Friday on Star Citizen Live. We finally rescheduled the vehicle feature team for our Master Modes conversation. So we're going to have Richard Towler and Yogi Platt on to talk about Master Modes, which were first introduced at DCC. And
SCL, big, very exciting. Whatever road to 4.0, fuck that.
And then I hear there might be some specialist the second guest, but I don't want to commit to it just yet.
Okay.
So yeah, for
Excited for
Nick
SCL.
and Rainer and Annie and Max, I'm Jared. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And I'll get to watch it
see you
live next
everybody.
week.
Take care.
Goodbye,
Yeah.
folks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Nice. That was a good one. What is that outro thing? But yeah, awesome. I thought overall that was a pretty good show for what it was, right? You got artists, all artists and a producer is not always going to be the most epic SCL you can have. But those people, very passionate, really, fresh, exciting people coming to the Star Citizen dev team, and in general, that was it was really good, and just how kind of open they were, and all that stuff, and how many caveats Jared had to put in. I like when those devs come on the show. Those are my favorite. When Jared has to scramble to PR, it's always the best. So, but man, that road to 4.0 stuff, get out of here with that. That's all I have to say. It's just from sort of, you know, a very crappy content creator like myself to another who's very good like Jared. He's doing a hell of a lot with what he has. So respect. But sound concepts, yeah, so